Greetings, loved ones.
How about that episode? Every time.
And you know what? It's not going to stop for the rest of the campaign.
How about that episode?
Is not going to stop for the Q&As because we're about halfway through recording the season 2 finale right now. And
more than halfway. But
hold on to your fucking hats, everybody. It doesn't slow down from here.
Oh, goodness. But yeah, top of the episode once again. We are going to be, speaking of the finale, broadcasting it live the Thursday before it goes out for public release. So we're going to make the announcement about that on our Twitter account later
tonight. Yeah.
So. So that'll be a fun experience with the live chat going.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. Yeah. We've never really had the opportunity to do something like that before, where like people have all been able to kind of be in the same space, reacting to things at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be interesting. But yeah, we'll be bringing it up on Twitter and in Q&As for the next couple weeks, just because we want you guys to be able to.
It's in the screen.
What?
I just realized that my card's in the shop. Whoops. No, I was forgetting something. There we go. Whoops.
But yeah, like we think that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Like giving people the opportunity to react to things, you know, in a group in real time. But we'll be posting on Twitter and talking about it on here the next couple weeks, just so everybody remembers to kind of like schedule time if you can to be there for it.
And if you want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be fun. Very excited for that. Anyway.
It's something you're going to want to be here for. Just as someone who knows what the last scene of the finale is, you're going to want to be here for it. Anyway, oh, hello. Why is it not clicking over? That's not good.
Oh, why is Google Chrome like this?
Just a second.
Technical difficulties.
There we go.
There we go.
So, playlist.
Yes.
We opened with Hardest of Hearts by Florence and the Machine.
Yes.
That was,
yeah.
It was sort of a fecule thing for me.
Yeah, it was a fecule song and kind of a mood setter.
Yeah.
So, kind of both at the same time. But that was interesting to have.
Just the Darling Heart, I've loved you from the start, but you'll never know what a fool I've been, Darling Heart.
Yeah,
I loved you from the start,
good.
But that's no excuse for the state I'm in.
Yeah. And the pace of it was good for the opening of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Laura Palmer by Bastille, that was a Leo song.
Yes.
That was a Leo song that I actually wanted to have much earlier in the series, and we never found space for.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you actually read the lyrics, it reads much more like a season 1 Leo, like an early season 1 Leo.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, it is much more him reflecting on the person that he was. The night was all you had. You ran into the night from all you had. Found yourself a path upon the ground. You ran into the night. You can't be found. But this is your heart. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Pumps through your veins. Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and having it here, I think we said that we wanted to do that to kind of, because we're nearing the end of that attitude with Leo of like,
running away.
Yeah, pulling away from people and treating himself as an island. And as we get to the end of that, we wanted to bring the song back for reflection purposes.
Mm-hmm. And then Shelter by Porter Robinson. You know, it's been so long since we made this playlist. I forget why let me look at this. I forget why we put this on here.
Yeah. Yeah, this one was, we did not spend a lot of, we spent a lot of effort on this episode playlist, but the song choices seemed very intuitive at the time. So this is one of the ones that we just like banged it out right after we finished the episode. Yeah.
It's kind of a Leo and Fee song, and it's a
Yeah.
long way forward, so trust in me, I'll give them shelter like you've done for me, and I know
Yeah.
I'm not alone, you'll be watching over us until you're gone, things like that,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Divide by Bastille was also a Fecule song, specifically a Captain-centric Fecule song. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because we had kind of him getting to the near the end of the realization that this whole relationship can work, because I think Fee and Sabine both approached it as like, once Sabine knew what was going on, as like, yeah, you know, I think they both have accepted the fact that they're polyamorous like a long time before the captain had to, for various reasons. So
Yeah.
it was mostly
well, and
him getting
also
on the same page.
yeah, and also the captain has a lot of psychological stuff going on where he is very used to being the person that people leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
we'll talk more about that next week.
Divide by Bastille is more of a foreshadowing song for
Yeah.
next week, but like the Captain and Fee did have that scene where he like started to lean into it a little bit and was like, yeah, okay, we're gonna talk about this later because people are trying to kill all of us right now.
And that scene at the end with them. And, you know.
Yeah, the fucking I will die on the hill of the battlefield confession being my favorite Captain moment.
Yeah.
I
don't know if I agree with you, but I endorse that choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so what's yours? I'm interested to know.
Of the ones we've recorded so far, I still go back to the Notebook Kiss. I think the Notebook Kiss was very good.
Yeah, the Notebook Kiss was really good.
Yeah, and also, you people are out of your fucking minds.
Yeah.
And not just because we went into that scene so before we recorded, I did want to say this last week and I fucking forgot. I did want to say, before we recorded the scene where Leo and the captain were talking to the conclave, when we were planning out who was running each scene, part of the reason that you stated that you wanted me to run that scene was because I do the captain voice best when he's yelling.
It's true though.
Yeah. But so that moment was very good to play out. Felt good. Felt organic. But yeah, as far as Divide, yeah.
In these darker days, I push the limit to the love you offer. There's a riot in my head demanding we do this forever. Like,
why would we divide when we could come together?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Fecule.
Fecule.
Control by Halsey was a Defiance song.
Yeah.
It was a mood setter, like ramping up to the end of the fucking episode. Yeah. Control's on Defiance's playlist.
Yeah. Nasty.
I think it's also on the Moreland playlist.
Yeah.
The Patreon one, anyway.
It's a good villain song.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, Control by Halsey. It's just a good villain song, and it was a good mood setter for Defiance in this episode. So, leading up to the end. And then, our closer was My Mother Told Me by Natty Dread.
Okay, so this is going to be a fun thing to talk about.
Yes.
Because we recorded the episode, and I had cooked up a scene in my head, but because we ran low on time, we didn't get to do it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have time to pitch it to Al because I literally thought of it like the night before we recorded. Yeah. So I didn't have time to do the pitch. So we recorded the end of the episode the way that we did. Mm-hmm. And then we recorded next week's episode, season 2, episode 17. And did things mechanically in that episode that wouldn't have allowed the scene that I was thinking of to happen. Yeah. I wanted them to have a battle shanty at the end.
Yeah.
And have like Sabine drop a mass bardic inspiration. We wanted it because I brought it up to Al after we were like, after 17 was wrapped, edited, ready to go.
Yeah.
And they were like, are you sure we can't do this? And I was like, Sabine does not have the fucking bardic inspiration slots for us to do this.
I was so mad. Like, it's not often that we go back and we add things to episodes that are already done, but like I would have made an exception for that. I was like,
it was a good idea. Yeah, I had the idea, especially because we had tied so much of the captain's kind of characterization into sea shanties and things like that.
Yeah, and because Sabine had that line about how her magic was tied up in the ship, and it was
yeah. Yeah, that's one of my biggest regrets about things that we've done so far on the podcast, was that we didn't get to do that scene. But yeah, initially the scene where they were sailing out to meet the Banshee, the captain was going to start leading everybody in like a sea shanty, and then Sabine was going to like tap into the magic and like drop a mass bardic inspiration on everybody. But it didn't happen. It still fits the mood though, and we've also said that Natty Dread is like one of our vocal inspirations for the captain, like tied between Natty Dread and Darina Harvey. But
yeah, and it's also just good to have an ominous shanty.
Yeah,
good to have an ominous shanty sometimes.
Yeah, we're nearing the end of our shanty era for the episode playlists, at least for a while. We might get a shanty dropped in there here and there in season 3, but the shanty era is for the most part over, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Deeply regretfully, it is mostly over. Okay, and then with that, we are moving on to our Patreon questions.
We had multiple people ask this first one, which was to elaborate on Defiance's title as Vice Admiral. Okay, here's the thing. We need to explain how we did titles for the Asharian Navy.
Well, the Asharian everything.
Yeah. We worked them along the same guidelines as we did like the Archduke title. As like there are no what we would think of culturally as like the highest titles in any given situation. Like those don't apply to any person because those are reserved for Kimrel, who is technically the sovereign of the nation. So technically the admiral of the Asharian fleet is Morlin, and technically he is also like the lead general of the Asharian army. Those
because
are
he's the head of state.
Yeah, because he's the head of state. Those are symbolic titles. Vice Admiral is the highest rank you can get in the Asharian Navy, and Defiance is not the only one. Defiance, in her introduction, specifically mentioned that she is the Vice Admiral of Asharian Naval Special Forces, which is a nice euphemism for she's the one what kidnaps people and takes them to Murder Island.
That's not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing.
I phrased it in a way to be very purposefully funny, but like it is the fact of the situation, unfortunately.
You want I should kill him, boss?
I should kill him, boss. Like, yeah, so that's the significance of Defiance's title as Vice Admiral of Asharian Naval Special Forces, is that she is the person that brings human sacrifices, for lack of a better term. Well, not for lack of a better term, that is the term, to Look to Golan.
Careful.
Well, yes, but we know. I will say no more about that, but we know that much. But there are other vice admirals of the Asharian Navy that are unrelated to Defiance's position.
Yeah, much in a way that there are many generals in like the army and things like that. Which, like, in terms of like the titles that Morlin has, it does make sense that he is considered, like, I can't remember what the term for like the fucking big person that controls the army is. It's something over a major general.
Yes. Yeah. Although I think technically with what we've established, his title would just be general of the Asharian army, but also the Asharian armed forces are not large.
Because his whole realm of expertise, as we'll be exploring in some Patreon bonus episodes later, was very much like infantry and ground combat. It's very funny that he is technically by title the Admiral of the Australian Navy, because Morlin and Leo share a very common trait, which is that they get extremely seasick and don't like being on boats.
Yep. Oh, geez. But yeah, that is very funny. But like, yeah, I think we accidentally implied that Defiance was like second in command of the entire Navy, which is why we got questions about Defiance's title.
No, but
which is
it's
not
just
the
that
case.
she's in charge of a very specific thing.
Yes, and
Yeah.
she is in charge of the pirates that operate out of and around Australia. So,
But those are not related, though.
Yeah, those
the
aren't
pirate,
related.
yeah, the pirate
Yeah.
operations
Yeah.
and the naval operations.
yeah,
Well, were not related
Well,
until Defiance
weren't
got
until-
that
yeah.
job. Yeah, they weren't related until Defiance got that job, and then they got it. It was a merger, so to speak, a murder merger,
girl boss,
a murder merger.
merger, girl boss, sarcastic, derogatory. But yeah, so we got several questions about that, so we just wanted to clarify that one. And then we got asked exactly how does the net work? So here's the thing about the mythological figure of Demora. Oh goodness, is that she was a very accomplished artificer in her own right. So basically what we have so basically what we did as far as like world building is that she kind of harnessed the like actual power that the portal stones had. And she hang on, are we having issues with our mic? Sorry.
No, it's
With
working.
our volume issues. Okay. Oh, sorry. It's just that I'm too quiet. Sorry, I just noticed weird things going on at the bottom of there. But yeah, the thing with Demora is that she was a very accomplished artificer in her own right. So the portal stones being okay, cool. We are hearable. Thanks. So the portal stones being vessels for a lot of magical power as permanent teleportation, as not even permanent teleportation circles, because that has implications mechanically, but as like vessels for very powerful teleportation magic. There was a lot of power that could be harnessed out of them. So essentially, Demora, with her artificer skills, kind of harnessed that.
She hacked the rock. Which I think it is relevant now to bring up the fact those portal stones all over the world, Australia, Oskaya, the Zephyr Isles, Vogveldur, those portal stones are older than any established nation that we have seen in the podcast. They are old as fuck. Like, they are old enough that this mythological figure tens of thousands of years ago looked at one
the city of Pearlport.
that built Pearlport, looked at it and went, I'm going to hack this.
Well, yeah, and we established that like the beginning footholds of a lot of modern day, or the precursors to modern day Zephyr Isles society started around the time that like nations in Tordoon were consolidating. So like that kind of dates it. But yeah, basically what she did was she harnessed the power that was in the stone itself and in the enchantments on it.
And in the key, because the key.
Yes, and in the key. Yeah, to animate those statues that she had built for the express purpose of being guards. So
well, because of what she did, the stone is not a functional portal anymore because she hacked it and redirected the magic. So
so she rendered that non-functional. She harnessed the magic to animate the statues. So when the portal stone is triggered as it was built to be by the key, then it frees up a lot of magical energy, and the key for the actual spell that she cast was what
the tablet. Was
so,
the rune that was carved into the tablet was directing the all that pent up magic outward.
Yeah.
So that was the 2-part component of the spell, was that like you need the raw power of the key being plugged into the portal to activate it. Yeah. And then you need this rune that's being carved into it by this other party to direct the magic out to do what it's supposed to do.
And it's very as far as like D&D, different kinds of magic systems, it's kind of a lot of melding of like what we think of as like divine or clerical magic in D&D, and the very like analytical like artificer wizard magic and stuff like that. So I thought it was interesting. It was cool to build. We had fun. But that's basically the process behind that one. We got one question that was just, tell us more about Yu's girlfriend.
Sunshine!
So Sunshine, my beloved.
We love Sunshine.
I'm so glad we can refer to her as Sunshine now.
Yeah.
That was like, we planned whether or not you rolled successfully on that persuasion check. We had planned out the results if she did succeed on that persuasion check. And we had been referring to Yu's girlfriend as Sunshine between ourselves. People in the chat yelling. But yeah, we had been referring to her as Sunshine between ourselves since we came up with her character concept. So it's really good that we get to just refer to her as such now. It just, I love her so much.
We will tell you guys that the scene where you rolled that persuasion check to convince Sunshine to come with them was directly mirroring the Leo and Eleonora scene in season 1 that Leo failed the persuasion check on. It was directly mirroring it. Like, if you look at Sunshine's lines, it's a direct mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that when we had one of our friends that listens to the show? I believe that was when they responded to. We told them that, and they responded with, "I'm biting you."
No, that wasn't I biting
it.
you.
Okay.
That was you bastards. Heart emoji.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Good. Oh man, but yeah, that mirroring was there. We rolled up her character sheet actually before we did this. Also,
oh yeah, so her whole deal. Yeah, her whole deal. We need to talk about her
Yes.
whole deal.
Yeah.
She is a relatively low level
knowledge domain cleric.
Yeah. So
I believe we made her like level 3. Like she's not.
she's higher than that.
Okay, yeah.
She's like level 5 or 6, I think.
Because we open up D&D Beyond. But we made her a relatively low level cleric. But we thought that would be interesting, and that would kind of play into her whole thing because her job is like a library, or the job that she was training for was librarian, was record keeper, stuff like that. Like
level 6.
Right. Ooh. So that felt most true to her character. Yeah, I think we had spitballed between like knowledge domain cleric and city domain cleric for a while.
Yeah. But we have another character coming up in season 3 that is like very, very notably a city domain cleric.
Yeah, and the more we built into her personality and into her screen time, we were like, nah, knowledge works better.
Don't get super excited. She doesn't have a whole lot of screen time.
But mostly in the background. We love her a lot.
Yeah.
And we're excited to we had said we were gonna play her in a Patreon one shot that I'm not going to discuss further. But we had spitballed.
But she is going to be in one of the Patreon one shots as like a player character.
Yeah. Yeah, we had one of our Patreon one shots that's going to be going out way, way later. Like I think during the hiatus after season 3, I think we said.
Yeah, in the intermittent campaign hiatus.
Yeah. We're going to be doing you and Sunshine as the PCs for that one. So eyes up for that. But yeah, she's very. I think if she had had a different upbringing and a different life, she would have been very Faustian. She's got to know things. You can't stop her.
Nosy to a fault.
Yeah. And I do love that about her.
Yeah.
That was kind of the primary thing that we wanted to play for her was she's just very nosy. She's very inquisitive. She doesn't really know when to stop looking into things.
And sometimes that ends you up standing on the docks in the middle of an invasion of your city with your girlfriend who's begging you to come with her.
Yeah.
And you go, okay.
But yeah, and I think she's a very curious person. She's a very not necessarily a worldly person. She's very book smart and hasn't had a lot of experiences. Like I think she's very cheerfully naive about the world, but also just encyclopedic knowledge of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Which is a fun character type to play. It's a fun character to have.
She's
Just a
like
bubbly little nerd.
she's like a less bitter Arave, I think. She's like an Arave.
I think she's more personable than Arave
Yeah.
also. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like an
Yeah.
Arave that hasn't had as much bad shit happen to her.
Different flavors of nerd shit
Yeah.
also. But yeah, they have a lot of the same bones. Oh, goodness. Yeah, next question. Defiance's plan seems really coordinated for her carrying out pretty recent orders. How long was she planning this?
Long fucking time.
A while.
So we had answered a question last week where we mentioned that like the whole hostile takeover of Pearlport was not something that Defiance was under orders to do. It was just something that she wanted to do.
Yeah, it was her goal, and she was gonna do what she thought she had to accomplish it.
Yeah, but I would say she had in some fashion been planning this end game from the time she broke up the captain and Sabine.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
fair.
Definitely from the time she heard that Feet was alive, because that was when she inserted the scrambling device into the distress signal on the ship. And
I think a big thing about Defiance is that she's very good at creatively interpreting her orders. You know what I mean?
She's swimming behind a bigger fish, but also she knows what she's going for.
Yeah.
So she is constantly kind of doing math in her head about how can I twist the orders that I've been given by my superiors in order to still achieve my goals. And yeah, essentially what she started doing as soon as she got that scrambling device in the distress signal on the ship was she started systematically decimating the fleet.
Yeah.
Like,
which she had already been doing to an extent, but
like the efforts ramped up a lot more. And she would track down these ships, board them because she had the information from the captain, because she was able to find that while they were engaged with other things.
I hate that. Thank you.
And she was able to find those ships, know where they were, board them, either imprison or kill the entire crew, and just take the ship and put her people on the ship. And now it was a part of her fleet. So that entire group of ships was able to sail into Pearlport with their fleet flags and their Zephyr Isles shipwrights construction with no suspicion, because people just thought, oh, it's the fleet.
Yeah.
And then all of that happened.
Yeah.
So she had been planning that for a while.
For a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was very much, this was her end goal. Like we said last week, this was her end goal. She was looking for an excuse.
Yeah, and her whole like rise to power narrative that she wants to have is that she wants to become the de facto queen of the Zephyr Isles, and then like bend the knee back to Morlun, and then and then have all that power,
which
over that area.
I think we said next week, last week. But yeah, so I think Defiance is very good at playing the long game in general.
Yeah, for sure.
Next question. How do the magic item level ups work? Like, was Leo's knife always going to level up in this episode, or is there a different way you're doing it?
Not necessarily. Like, there are like points. Like,
yeah, there are narrative points where we kind of want to hit our magic item level ups. It's kind of a situation where we're substituting magic item level ups for character level ups, like, or we're treating them as equivalent, really. Just because what am I trying to say? Just because the magic items are connected to their character arcs as intimately as they are. So like Leo and Fee don't get a level up in this mini arc because their magic items leveled up. Or Fee's magic item is going to level up and Leo's did. But basically it's just kind of like their character level ups. It's milestone determined. It's just kind of narrative points, and here's a shiny new ability for hitting this narrative point.
Oh, you improved yourself as a person. Have a mechanical advantage in combat. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. You're going through a crisis situation. Now you do sneak attack on spells.
So true, honestly.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's just kind of whenever the narrative point hits, we just decide to do a level up, and we wanted to do magic item level ups because we're only going to get 2 each. We wanted to do 1 a season, so it was just kind of whenever this season felt right to substitute a character level up with a magic item level up was just kind of when we were going to put it in.
Yeah, and also because we want to keep our character level ups mostly in line with each other, like within an episode. Yeah. Just because it gets confusing otherwise, because we have to level up everybody else at the same time. So
so it's just kind of easier to handle that together. So we ended up doing the magic item level ups this time. So it wasn't necessarily going to be this episode, but it was going to be around this time.
I think somewhere in the Pearlport mini arc. Like I think in our outline we did like have like a little asterisk in there, like when we had Pearlport arc like outlined, like we're doing magical item level ups here. Like
But yeah, it wasn't as concrete as just saying which episode it was going to be in.
Yeah, we didn't know for sure that it was going to be like, oh, in this scene in episode 16, Leo's magic.
It just seemed like a good opportunity.
Yeah, and they just kind of ran with it. Yeah. And it worked out pretty cool. It's going to work out even cooler when Leo gets his rogue subclass, but this is our last patron question.
Yes.
So, free questions in the chat.
Yeah. Would Fee have let Leo cast that warding bond if she knew what the spell did? I think that's a difficult question. I don't know that she would have. It's kind of a complicated question because Leo can take more hits than she can.
Oh yeah, like as far as clerics go, Leo's a fucking tank. Like Leo has ridiculous hit points for a cleric.
That is something that's hard to parse out. I think I'm gonna go with no because it was kind of a very self-sacrificing move on Leo's part, and Fee wouldn't have wanted to indulge that impulse. As we'll see as we'll see in the future. But I think she would have been grateful for the advantage either way and would have recognized that was a protective instinct, but also like it was very much an impulse of Leo setting himself on fire to keep her warm, which I don't think that she would have been cool with if she had known.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, though, like, Leo was very much analytically looking at the situation. Yeah. And being like, she can do the most damage out of anybody here, and I can take more licks than she can. Yeah. And trying to do that, like, yes, at his core, it very much was like, I am going to protect my little sister, and I am going to do this so I can have personal responsibility over keeping her safe, but also he was looking at it from a pretty analytical lens of being like, Fee can't take as many hits as I can. Yeah. And especially after being injured the way that she had been.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I think if he had explained that to her, she would have gone along with it.
He wasn't willing to risk it, though. I know. Yeah, so he just dropped the spell without trying to explain it because he was afraid of her shutting him down. So he just did it and gave her a very vague explanation of like, don't get more than 60 feet away from me, please. Yeah.
God. And we have questions in the chat. In that one episode where Fee was watching the animals for this one's brother in the storm cloud, she saw a figure that appeared to have wings or something. Is that a reference to current Fee or something else? Something else.
Emphatically.
But good on you for noting that. And then we got another question. Are we to believe the sword Defiance has is the sword Fee left behind? No. Defiance has had her sword at her side since her introduction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Defiance has a sword as a naval officer that was issued to her. That is the sword that she uses.
Well, we should clear up at this point. Remember how a couple weeks ago we said that we couldn't tell you Defiance's class because it was a special tool that would help us later?
Yes. Yeah. We can tell you now. Defiance is an Oathbreaker Paladin.
Yeah, she's a paladin with an Oathbreaker subclass. So the orb is her holy symbol. The sword is her weapon. Yeah.
Yeah, so we should establish that now. Yeah, we can actually tell you guys now. Defiance is a pretty high level Oathbreaker Paladin.
Like higher than Leo or Fee.
Yeah,
yeah.
She's scary. But yeah, and the orb is very much her spell casting focus. And it is we'll see about it.
We'll learn about why she's an Oathbreaker subclass specifically.
We'll learn. And they were narrative foils. Oh my god, they were narrative foils.
I have to run to the bathroom really quick. You can take the next one.
Yes. Okay. And then people elaborated on if the sword that Defiance had was the sword that Fee left behind. Is something going to happen right now because Defiance took it? How'd she even take it? Again, that's not the sword that she has. But I enjoy the thought that was put into this question so much. I fundamentally am someone that likes to craft mysteries, and watching people go full Pepe Sylvia over the podcast is just very good. And then last question, how did you find out that the captain is her brother? Can you tell us? So that was what was happening when Sunshine went to look up records for her. Because Sunshine works in the library, like the thing off screen, they had a discussion of looking up the records for when you was surrendered to state service and looking up records in that vein to try to find her sibling, or to try to find her older sibling that had left, like trying to compare the dates and trying to find the records on her older sibling. And she put together the records on that person as being, or as matching up with stories that the captain had told about his time in state service. Like, it was very much, you extrapolated some stuff and then went to have a confrontation with him about it. But like those were the files that she had in the scene where she and Leo were talking about Lorelai. Those were the files that Sunshine brought her and that she put down like they were a loaded bomb. Yeah. That's what was up. That's what was up there.
Yeah.
And then she went to confront the captain about it, and he's a bad liar.
Well, and also at that point, I feel like if she had called, like, yeah, she called him out about it, and he would have owned up to it. But also, his first thought was, that fucking son of a bitch told her.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, oh, she went and did her own research. It was, oh,
Yeah.
Leo told her, because Leo's an asshole.
Yeah.
Like,
but yeah, because like, as we said, state service keeps very meticulous records. They had records as far as dates of when you was inducted into state service, and they had the records of the date when, or of dates when people leave. So they had the record of when the captain left, and it was just kind of deduction for her to match up the dates there.
Because it was probably, I would say, like less than a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like if he dipped and immediately went to find his parents
Mm-hmm.
and try to talk to them, and they had all of their shit going on, and would have pretty much almost immediately been like, okay, well, time to put our other kid in there then, since this one fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, like it that was very much the purpose of that scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody in the chat said, I'm screaming and shouting. I'm losing it about Oathbreaker Paladin Defiance.
You have no idea.
We've been waiting.
You have no idea. Hold on. You're going to scream and shout more.
Oh, jeez. Her character sheet, by the way, is scary. It's scary.
Oh, she's
High-level
terrifying.
paladins are scary.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a level 16 Oathbreaker Paladin, as far as next week goes, and she fucked our shit up real bad. She fucked our shit up real bad.
Oh. Same person in the chat said, I'm literally texting people yelling about this. I'm utterly incoherent. This is so exciting. Terrifying. Level 16. Yeah.
Level 16?
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, we wanted to keep her over leveled for when we knew we were going to be fighting her.
Because we knew that we would have the captain with us.
Yeah.
And frankly,
and Sabine.
Yeah. Well, Sabine, we have mentioned,
Sabine
is
doesn't
not
have as much
optimized for combat.
Yeah. But she's a good support player, which means that people that are good at combat.
And you guys will see this next week. Sabine saves our fucking ass like 3 times. But also the captain in close combat is horrifying.
Yeah. And Fee can do massive amounts of damage, and Leo can do a lot if he wants to. And like we had
Fee as AoE. Yeah, like we were trying to like optimize it a lot. We were like, okay, we've got Fee as like area of effect damage. We have Leo as, because he has that rogue multi-class now, like get in, do massive amounts of damage, get out.
Yeah.
And
because of his cleric shit, he can do crowd control.
Yeah, and he can do a lot of crowd control because of his cleric stuff. And then the captain is because he's a swashbuckler rogue, he's not get in, get out.
Yeah.
He is get in, stay in, do insane amounts of damage while he's there.
Yeah. And then we had Sabine to dole out some heals.
Yeah.
Which we needed. But yeah, we didn't want to go into that with Defiance like not ridiculously overleveled in comparison to our PCs. Like we wanted to give her at least 5 levels just because it was going to be a 4-on-1 fight. Yeah. So, level 16, yes. And also just we wanted to see how scary we can make her.
Very scary. It turns out. Okay, let's
and also like she is one of our big bads, and we wanted that to be obvious, a real and present threat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let's do a count out of the 4 characters that we're playing next week. How many of them did Defiance almost murder?
Let's talk about it next week. Somebody in the chat said you made her scary and you made her hot, and that is your fault.
It is our fault.
Yeah.
She sucks though.
She sucks.
Please remember that she sucks.
Yeah, that's all we ask. Oh man. Yeah, we wanted her to be a present threat. Especially because out of our big bads, she's the one that we kind of see in combat first. If that makes sense. Like Alasha is a threat because of
what she knows.
Because of what she knows and because of the lengths that she is willing to go to achieve her goals. Morlin is a threat because he wields immense amounts of institutional power, like Defiance.
And personal power. We haven't seen that
but we
yet.
haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Like for most of the campaign, Morlin is a threat because of the institutional power that he wields. So like Defiance being a very real, very present physical threat was something that we really wanted to play with.
When we rolled up her character sheet, we were like, okay, we should make her scary. And then we were like, okay, Oathbreaker Paladin, level 16. Then we rolled her sheet and we were like, oh my God. Oh.
Yeah. We wanted to make her fully capable of killing any of our main characters in single combat.
Yeah.
that was kind of the goal. We were like, okay, she needs to be able to, with not a lot of effort, take out any one character in the main cast.
Yeah, because with the shit that she has at her current level, she can do things like, oh, you cast a spell on her that has a concentration effect?
Yep.
No, you didn't. Or
she can do, I think her max damage is something in the realm of like 75 points at once.
Yeah. Which like Leo's is higher, but Leo also has like Leo also has less protection than she does because Leo doesn't have like a self-healing pool or anything like that. Defiance also has a self-healing pool of 75 hit points that she can just smack herself and give back. Defiance is fucking terrifying.
Sorry, she's level 15 because she does have 75. I have lay on hands points. Anyway.
Oh, I thought she was level 16. Okay.
Paladins. Oops. But we wanted to keep her very powerful and keep her a very real, very present danger.
Which is why the captain freaked out so much when the whole suggestion of how about we go fight Defiance came up.
Yeah. Ugh.
Like, not only for abuse victim reasons, but also he's probably seen her in combat before.
Which is not true of Leo and Fee, period, and is not true of Sabine since she was much, much younger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she. Oh, combat with Defiance it's gonna be fun next week. It's gonna be interesting. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have a fun time.
I wouldn't call that fun.
Did you use the phrasing magical firepower for a reason? Does she have fire themed magic, or was that just fun word choice?
Nope, it's lightning.
No, it's just fun word choice. Her magic is like flavored very similarly to Fee's,
but it's like void lightning.
Yeah. Well, you'll see it next week.
Well, I did a lot of exposure on it at the end of the episode.
That's
where
true.
She dropped that like thaumaturgy, and I said that the thunder sounded sick and things like that. That was meant.
The end?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like that was meant to be the lead in to the fact that she is an Oathbreaker paladin.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's very much a like corrupted, not good version of Fee's magic.
But yeah, magical firepower was just fun word choice because it felt like the turn of phrase that the captain would use in that situation.
The captain who's used to working with glasses in terms of firepower. Yeah.
Oh goodness. But yeah, not fire themed. We play with fire themed magic later in the campaign.
Well, and we do it with Sabine too, because Sabine, Sabine's stuff
Sabine
is
has
very
that fire step thing that we haven't gotten to use on
Flame
screen.
Stride,
yes.
Flame Stride, and she has like Firebolt and stuff like that where she's
heat metal.
Heat metal, so Sabine is kind of a cross between like fire themed and then like reality warping stuff because she has like Dimension Door.
Yeah. And also we don't build bard spell lists the same way we build sorcerer ones.
And also like a lot of Sabine's magic is kind of specified to who Sabine is as a person.
Yeah.
So like we see later
which is why she's not good in combat.
Yeah, well, she's spec'd to be a spy, and she has things like Otto's irresistible dance.
Yeah,
and she has so like a lot of Sabine's spell sheet is tailored towards her personality and her goals versus the way we do our sorcerers, which is you can do two things.
And Defiance's magic being lightning themed as opposed to like fire themed, for example, we thought was too close to Sabine's. But like we definitely wanted it to be lightning and thunder themed to strengthen the narrative foiling and to draw like a direct comparison between her and Fee.
She's an Oathbreaker paladin.
Quiet. But yeah, we had a lot of fun with putting that together and doing the flavoring for that next week, or in next week's episode rather. Oh man. But yeah, magical firepower was
and building paladin spell sheets is weird anyway. Because we have a really big
because paladin spells kind of work the same way that clerics do.
Yeah, in a way, except paladin spells are typically more like combat flavored. Like they don't have a lot of the like
but it's
flavor.
Like
they don't have a lot of the like role play spells that clerics do. But yeah, like the prepared spells thing, it's more along the lines of clerics. And we do meet another character in late season 2, early season 3 that is a pretty high level paladin that we see.
Well, and also we saw fucking Isaac Ashthorn back in season 1.
Yeah, and Isaac Ashthorn.
A very high level paladin.
Yeah. Who could have easily wrecked my shit if Eleonora hadn't saved my ass.
Oh yeah. I think we actually made him also either level 15 or around there. Just
I
because
think we said he was level like 13.
He's a high level motherfucker.
Yeah.
He was very high level just because like it's the divide between like him and Defiance and like season 1 Moreland also. Like there's a level where you want an antagonist to have a certain amount of over leveling, but like if you intend to engage in combat with them, then there's a line. So occasionally you just overlevel a character that has an antagonistic relationship with your PC as a signal. It's like
Please don't fight
bright
this
colors.
person.
Yeah, it's like bright colors on.
It's like when you're playing The Witcher and the fucking skull shows up.
Yeah. Please do not attempt to fight this person.
Yeah. Which I did very much try to do with Moreland.
Yeah. Well, because he was level 20.
Well, yeah, Moreland's been level 20 since the start of the campaign. Like, he's not getting any higher, but also, don't try to fight him. Like,
but yeah, whereas Defiance was designed to be a much more reasonable opponent for a single party.
Yeah, well, and for 4 people, you know, like, let's well, maybe we could take.
Oh goodness. But yeah, it's just very fun to play with the levels in building antagonists. But yeah, and also Defiance's spell sheet is bad.
It's truly horrific.
Paladins are.
Oathbreaker Paladins specifically, with like all of the subclass specific shit that they get, are bad. Because basically what Oathbreaker Paladins are a cleric warlock mashup magically.
Yeah.
And that's not something anybody wants.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
All right, 10-minute call. If anybody has any other questions, and we're open for fun questions.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat said Oathbreakers are a really cool subclass. Yeah.
Oh, they are. They're so cool.
So
like
cool.
I've never played one outside of Defiance before, but you could do some fucked up shit with an Oathbreaker Paladin at high levels.
You can do some things. And like I'd played Paladins before, but like
I had done I've only ever played one Paladin before, and it was Oath of Vengeance, which is like kind of similar to Oathbreaker. It's like a less nasty Oathbreaker. Yeah.
But yeah, I played somebody in the chat said I'm honestly so excited to see Defiance in combat though. Good.
Good, because she rec shop. She sure does rec shop.
We always feel very hesitant doing combat heavy episodes, but like there was no way to get around it for the end of this mini arc. Like it would have been less narratively satisfying, we think, to have not had
oversimplified
the
combat.
Yeah.
And it is a big combat. It's like almost 45 minutes long. But
I think it's over 45 minutes long. It's most of the episode. Yeah.
But it's a big combat. Defiance beats the fuck out of us.
We're not gonna elaborate. Because spoilers. But yeah, we gave her also some fun things that you'll see. But playing her in combat was very interesting.
It was fun. I mean,
it was fun.
Except for some of the points where we were like, oh no, but
it was scary, but it was fun.
It was scary, but it was fun. Yeah.
Which is kind of what we're going for all of our big bads that we're going to see in a lot of combat.
Except for Moreland. Pretty much with Moreland, it's just like, oh, this is scary. Like,
it'll have moments where it's fun. It'll be fun mechanically. The BBEG fight's gonna be fun mechanically. Come on.
We have been planning out the mechanics for a BBEG fight for a long time. Especially because like I'm the one that mostly runs a lot of our like big combats.
Which we've been trying to move away from this season because I'm not a big fan of running combat, which is kind of why Barry's been running a lot of them.
Well, because I very much enjoy it.
Yeah. But we have been trying to like figure out ways mechanically to balance it and things.
So I've been thinking about comparisons of how I've been designing the fights that I'm in control of, and then like the fights that you're in control of.
Yeah.
You do fights that are very like boss fights rather,
Mhm.
that are very like high fantasy RPG inspired fights. Hello, my
Chelsea
wife.
is home. Hello.
My wife.
Chelsea coming in for the last 5 minutes Q&A.
I
Hi.
was gonna say, I haven't interrupted Q&A in so long.
Yeah.
My wife.
Surprise Chelsea cameo.
Fuck.
Thank you so much. Chat says hi. But yeah.
But yeah,
More about
what I was saying is like a lot of the campaign, as far as the campaign goes, a lot of the combats that you've designed have been very like high fantasy RPG inspired boss fights. Like think like
That's fair.
Skyrim boss fights, things like that.
That's fair.
What I'm doing with the combats that I've designed, which would be the season 1 finale and the campaign finale, the BBEG fight, are so Zelda inspired. Like now that I've been thinking back on it, of like boss phases and things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
Yeah.
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, especially the campaign finale boss fight is going to be like very, very Legend of Zelda inspired in terms of like boss phases and things like that.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, because I did a lot of the work for this combat coming up, and it is high fantasy RPGs, right? Yeah, because it's very
It's Siege of Kaer Morhen.
Yeah. Like
it's driven by the plot points when you hit the plot points in the combat.
Yeah.
Which is like directly a comparison to like the Siege of Kaer Morhen in Witcher 3.
Yeah. Like it's very much
either Siege of Kaer Morhen or the fucking
nerd.
The end of Dragon Age Inquisition too.
Yeah. Just very much like
or the Siege of Haven. Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah, like that is very much my strategy when I'm doing like big fights, is even smaller ones really. Like it's like whittle away at the party before they get to the actual boss fight. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Meanwhile, I do things like designing the boss to be this level of threat at first.
Yeah.
And then they get more and then they whittle you down and then they get more threatening.
Yeah.
And then they whittle you down a little bit more and then they get more threatening. Yeah.
But so it's been fun to run combats together, especially because we do have those different.
We have extremely different combat styles, but I have always enjoyed our combats that we have done.
And I think as far as the big ones, season 1 finale was kind of when we hit the balance of what we wanted to do with combats going forward. But like I think this fight coming up is very much when we actually like hit on how we want to run our big combats, and we actually like hit our groove with it. So that was fun.
Yeah, and then we have actually agreed that we're gonna play test the campaign finale before we record it, because we have some mechanical concerns, but we know how we would like to run it.
And we're excited for that.
And we're very excited for it. We just need to play test it a little bit. Okay, let's do like a 5-minute call if anybody has any questions.
Well, we did our 10-minute call. We can.
Okay.
Yeah. But that was very fun, and I think I think even though I know long combats are. Thanks. Somebody said I think combat in this podcast is very fun and all quite different. Like it doesn't feel like it gets repetitive or boring or anything. Thanks. Like that is something we were worried about as people who have consumed actual play shows. Is like a lot of times combat and actual play shows. You zone out. And that might just be that both of us have attention issues, but it is a common complaint of the genre of like combat drags. And
also we're 2 people, it is very different when you have a table of like 5 or 6 people running a combat versus it's just us, man. So we get how that can get repetitive and how it can get long.
So like that's very much, we've engineered a lot of our combat with the purpose of streamlining the mechanics of it and avoiding that repetitiousness. Like I think this next one is kind of our long combat, or our longest combat of the season, definitely. And we tried very much to streamline it in such a way that is that it is still snappy and it is still easy to pay attention.
Well, and we
to.
also tried to intersperse it with like character things.
Yeah,
there are a lot of like
yeah.
snappy
Yeah, and we
one-liners
did that
in the middle
season
of the
one finale
combat
as well.
Yeah,
Like, yeah. But that's something that we very much try to focus on when we engineer long combats, especially because we know it's hard to pay attention sometimes to combat in actual play shows. We hope that next week lives up to the standard that we set in the season 1 finale and surpasses it as much as possible.
I'm very proud of what we
very
did
proud of it.
for next week's episode.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna land well. I think you guys are gonna like it a lot.
Yeah.
And then the end of the episode, you know, like the very tail end is pretty role play heavy and has a lot of weight moving forward into the end of the season.
Yeah.
But so with that, we are gonna go ahead and dip out and finish recording this fucking finale.
Oh, it's gonna be good. We'll see all y'all next week. Enjoy the episode on Thursday or Friday. Bye.